Hey guys, it's Mrs. MacPhail. Today we're going to be working on a lesson called How to Change a Fraction into a Decimal Using a Calculator. And Mr. Nutty's here. He's going to help us out with the calculator portion of this for today. And yes, indeed, so for this activity, you will indeed need a calculator. Anything will do. Even the one on your Chromebook is going to be just fine, but you do need a calculator to do this activity and this math video. All right, so let's get started. I'm just going to write down a basic fraction. Probably one that you know already. In fact, I know you know already. And it's the fraction 1/2. All right? Now, remember that fractions are just division that hasn't been done yet. So whenever we talk about changing fractions into a decimal, all we're really doing is dividing. And so if you ever have to do this by longhand, what you can do is draw a little fraction house or a division house, sorry. And if you remember from the one video, how if you kind of tilt it sideways, the numerator just falls into the fraction house, or the division house, and the denominator ends up outside the house. All right? So if we wanted to carry this out with long division, we could, or we could just get out our calculator, one quite just like this, and we could do the following. We could do 1 divided by 2 is equal to 5/10. Now notice how I typed that in. And if this way confuses you to think about how to type it into the calculator, just stick with your fraction. And remember that we always do top divided by bottom. 1 divided by 2, numerator divided by denominator. So you just start at the top and work your way down. So it's almost kind of like you think of your fraction line as the division sign, okay? So you probably could have told me without me dividing that with a calculator that 1/2 is equal to 5/10 or 0.5 or 50 hundredths if you're going to think of it that way. But using a calculator also helps us verify our work. Let's try another fraction into a decimal. I'm going to keep just track on the side so we know what we've done. So we did 1/2 is equal to 5/10. Let's try another one. How about the fraction 1/3? You can do this along with me with your calculator. All right, so if you want to challenge yourself, you could certainly do long division with that, or break out your calculator. And remember, we're going to go top down. So numerator divided by denominator. Remember, think of that fraction line between the numerator and denominator as your division sign. So all you're doing is you're doing numerator divided by denominator. 1 divided by 3 gives you, oh my, a party of 3's. So we're going to write them out to 6 digits. So 0.3333. That's a lot of 3's. Now in future years, you're going to learn that when a fraction is renamed as a decimal, like it is here, it's either going to have a terminating decimal, like the 5 over here, which means it ends, or it's going to have a repeating decimal. And here the 3 goes on and on and on forever. So in future math, you might see it shortened like something like that. Okay? All this means is that line just means that it's going to repeat forever. But you don't have to know that right now. It's just a little fun fact. So we can see that 1/3 as a fraction is equal to 0.333333333333 forever and ever and ever. So sometimes our fractions are short. They have a terminating decimal, or they go on and on forever. Let's try another one. How about the fraction 1/5? Once again, you could do this long division style, or Mr. Nutty says break out your calculator and let's do it that way. So remember, we're going to do top divided by bottom, numerator divided by denominator. 1 divided by 5 is equal to 2/10. So this would be an example of a terminating decimal because it's only one decimal and there's nothing after that. So 2/10 is equal to 1/5. And let's just do one more for kicks and giggles. Mr. Nutty, what do you think? Really? Oh, that's kind of a big fraction, Mr. Nutty, but okay. So Mr. Nutty wants to do, I can't believe we're doing this, Mr. Nutty, 521 over 2,000. So once again, if you wanted to get wild and crazy like Mr. Nutty, you could certainly do long division with that, or you could break out your handy dandy calculator, Mr. Nutty, and you can do numerator divided by denominator. 521 divided by 2,000, it is possible to have a fraction like that, is equal to 0.2605. So decimals can vary depending on what your fraction is. Sometimes they can be short, sometimes they can be long, sometimes they can be rather big decimals, pretty close to 1, and sometimes they can be pretty far from the number 1, depending on how close your numerator is to your denominator. And remember, all fractions really are just, at least when you're converting them to decimals, are just division that hasn't been done. Numerator divided by denominator in your calculator. Cool beans, we'll see you later, bye-bye.